St. John the Philosopher here, your favorite rocket scientist, commentator, and all-around great guy, here reacting to Avatar. Now, I will definitely not be claiming that this is my first time seeing this movie. I have seen this movie before, maybe twice. It's been a while, but one thing I do remember is how big of a deal it was. I mean, the 3D technology, the computer-generated wildlife and everything, the idea of Pandora, all the production design that went into it, all of the innovation that went into the entire making of the film was a really, really big deal. There were people who were depressed about the fact that Pandora isn't a real place. Yeah, that actually happened. Anyway, I don't remember the movie itself being all that great. I remember thinking that the hype that came off of it or led up to it and came off of it was a bit much, but I guess we'll see. So without further ado, you know what time it is. Let's get to this movie. It's time to watch Avatar.
I started having these dreams of flying. I was free. Sooner or later, though, you always have to wake up.
That is a really cool intro. That is actually how water behaves in zero gravity. The surface tension of the water keeps it basically in a tight ball, and it wants to stay together. And it'll just float around. It's really cool. If you get a chance, go on YouTube and find some videos of astronauts actually playing with liquids in space. It's a pretty fun time. This is a really cool spaceship. One thing I noticed is the radiators up front, the devices used to dispel excess heat. It's really cool. You got the solar panel power array at the back. This is really how a lot of spacecraft are probably going to look in the future. Very long, very spindly, lots of greebly things all over it that do things. You're probably not going to waste all of the mass that you need on a sleek, shiny body to cover it all up. Everything will just pretty much be out in the open. I do appreciate that. And also the rotating habitats, because artificial gravity isn't a thing.
We'd like to talk to you about taking over his contract.
Since your genome is identical to his, you could step into his shoes, so to speak.
Little faux pas there. The shuttle they used to transfer into onto the planet through the atmosphere is also pretty realistic looking.
Go! Get out of there! Keep moving!
I do applaud the attention to detail. Everything looks very, very real. And also the production design aired more towards the realistic rather than the super sci-fi, right?
Marines, fighting for freedom.
Look out, Hot Rod!
I love the idea of mech suits, but the practical realities is they're probably a bad idea in real life. But still, really good job on the production design. Makes it look like real robotics, you know?
As head of security, it is my job to keep you alive. I will not succeed.
Truth's tough.
Not with all of you.
Me and Norma here to drive these remotely controlled bodies called avatars. And they're grown from human DNA mixed with the DNA of the natives.
Hey, welcome.
One thing that always got me about this movie was the technology that went into just developing this avatar technology it's way beyond the type of stuff that we'd even think about for space travel. I mean, my goodness, splicing your DNA with that of a native population on another planet, that's kind of a big deal. I appreciate the sort of video diary thing that they use here to help with the explanations, because it's a lot of exposition, and you got to make it relevant. Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing a whole bunch of words at us, and it gets boring really fast.
You gotta get in the habit of documenting everything. You know, what we see, what we feel. It's all part of the science.
And good science is good observation.
What's wrong with this picture? Thank you.
Hey, look, Sigourney Weaver coming out of a cryo-looking thing. Again, in a Cameron movie. This is so on the nose with the corporate exec guy playing, golf in the office or whatever. This whole thing made me roll my eyes.
This is why we're here. Unobtainium. Because this little gray rock sells for...
Can I just say that as creative as this movie was in all other respects, the fact that they went with unobtainium for the name of the special rock that everybody's going after, just it made me crazy. I was literally squirming in my seat the first time I saw this, and the first time I heard them say unobtainium, I was like, no, they did not. No, they didn't just use an engineering joke word. Yes, it is an engineering joke word for the name of this thing that they're going to fight over for the whole movie. But here we are. On a scientific note, though, the fact that it was sitting floating there in what probably was a strong magnetic field means that this is probably a superconducting material, some sort of magical sci-fi thing that does the types of things that we really wish materials could do on Earth if we were to continue our research in things like advanced power generation and things like that. In that regard, I can see why it would be very, very valuable. Not sure 20 million a kilo makes sense, but who knows what technology this thing is used in the future economy.
You just figured you'd come out here to the most hostile environment known to man with no training of any kind and see how it went? What was going through your head?
Maybe I was sick of doctors telling me what I couldn't do.
Biometrics are good.
Wing 3 is ready.
Keep your arms in, hands in,
I like their relationship.
head down. Down. Just relax and let your mind go blank. It shouldn't be hard for you.
Guess the darkest part of my little life.
Jake! We're not supposed to be running!
Yeah, try telling a guy who hasn't run in years that he shouldn't be running with his brand new superhuman legs.
Don't play with that, you'll go blind.
That's kind of freaky.
Come on. Scat. Lights out. See you at dinner, kiddies.
I don't understand the braid. I mean, I get if they had some sort of prehensile sort of head-tail thing with the little neuro connection leads on the end, but I don't understand the hair around it. Does it grow that way, or do they have to do the hair around the prehensile head-tail thing? I random question, I know, but my brain works weird.
I fly all the science sorties, and this here's my baby. Hold on a second. Hey, Wainfleet, get it done. We bounce at 09.
Yeah, I'm on it, Captain.
I love how much this looks like a helicopter. Because there's a reason helicopters look the way they do. It's because they've kind of worked through all of the design inputs to determine that this is the best form for the function that it serves. So it only makes sense that a vehicle that basically does the same thing would look very much the same. So again, top-notch production design.
I was first recon myself. A few years ahead of you. Well, maybe more than a few.
Fear the old man in the young man's game.
Son, I take care of my own. You get me what I need, I'll see to it you get your legs back when you rotate home. Your real legs.
That sounds real good, sir.
You know, thematically, though, the mechs really work as a sort of militaristic, sort of low-budget analog to the avatars themselves. It's like there's a person inside driving this larger, more powerful body. But in this case, it's dedicated to war and destruction and all that good stuff, as opposed to the avatar bodies themselves, which are more about, I guess, linking with nature and things like that. So it's a little, you know, frou-frou green tree hugger for me, but it makes sense for the themes of the movie. The consistency of the fauna on this planet having 6 limbs is a really cool aspect of the production design, but it doesn't make any sense that the Na'vi themselves don't have 6 limbs also. I mean, think about all the creatures on. Think about all the creatures on Earth. They tend to have 4 limbs, the very larger ones. So it would make sense that the Na'vi should have 6, but then it would make them look a little too weird.
So that is signal transduction from this root to the root of the tree next to it.
To translate what she said, the trees are talking through their roots. That was a T-Rex roar, wasn't it? That was the correct diving position. It minimizes your impact in the water and allows you to survive from very, very high falls. Marines learn how to do that in basic. Now you're stranded and lost, and you need to get back to civilization, and you have no weapon. Jake Sully is in a bad way, folks. Even if this was a jungle in Venezuela, he'd be in a bad way. Oh, look. Question. Why was she gonna kill Jake Sully? These analog jackal creatures are really cool. I like the fact that they started with sort of real-world animal designs and just kind of amped them up for the fauna on Pandora. It works really well because our minds understand what's happening even without anybody having to explain what these creatures are. Like the first big guy was kind of like a rhino or a hippo or something like that, or an elephant even. We had the lion, the big cat sort of thing that chased them around just a minute ago. And now these are like hyenas or jackals or things like that. It's a really good visual storytelling. And now we get to see all the bioluminescent life that lives on Pandora, and all of a sudden it's beautiful. I guess the light of the fire prevented them from luminescing or something like that, and that's why she put out the fire. So things he wouldn't know, obviously. He's crashing around the planet like, as she's probably going to say in a minute, like a baby. I just noticed that the algae bioluminesce as they step on it. That's pretty neat. So many details in the production design here. What? He's the chosen one! That's basically what this scene is. 6 legs.
A warrior of the Jarhead clan.
The Jarhead clan. I love that part.
Good evening.
All the way with the booty out. Watch the tail. Nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Jarhead clan?
The Jarhead clan. That's my favorite part. I'm telling you. My dad was a Marine, and I was in a program called the Young Marines from the ages of 8 through 18. So the Jarhead clan is my people.
You'd know this if you had any training whatsoever.
He's got a date with the chief's daughter.
Oh, come on. That's
knock
not
it off, you two.
He a little salty.
Don't do anything unusually stupid.
Can I say again, I love their relationship. That's another Jurassic Park animal sound. Quick question. Why do those things have 2 little connectors and the Na'vi only have 1? The whole idea of living in 2 worlds that this movie is exploring, it's one of the themes, is also expressed with Jake having to work with the scientists, but reporting to the security operation. So that's a really interesting aspect to this as well. So they keep that 2 worlds thing going. That is really cool. But it kind of reminds me of a Super Mario Brothers level or something. Now, if the mountains were made of unobtainium, and which obviously floats in a powerful magnetic field, and this area had a powerful magnetic field, it would make sense that the mountains could float. But then again, it would also make sense that the guys who were there to mine unobtainium would have already blown these things up into chunks and taken them back home with them. So I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a logistical problem for, you know, trying to mine in this area, but it's really cool. And obviously, the coolest part of Pandora is the fact that you get your own dragon.
Trails, the tracks of the waterhole, tiniest scents and sounds.
And then it plays out kind of like a Hallmark movie where the guy and the lady spend so much time together they can't help but develop a relationship. The weird flight method. It does not look possible, and it doesn't look stable. But then again, there are bugs around here that fly into everything. You ever see a cicada try to fly anywhere? Pff, it's a mess. So what do I know? Don't look at me like that, she said. Except, you know, she kind of liked it.
Learning to ride an Ikra, we call them banshees. It's the test every young hunter has to pass.
So?
But to do that, you gotta go where the banshees are. Oorah.
Oorah. That's a big nope from me. I mean, I'm not exactly afraid of heights, but I know what heights can do to a body if you don't traverse them properly.
You will have one chance, Jake.
How will I know if he chooses me?
He will try to kill you.
Outstanding.
That's such a Marine response. I like the retractable teeth also. Such cool creature design, man. It really is cool. Yeah, very much How to Train Your Dragon vibes here.
The Tree of Souls. Ivitrai Ramunon. It's their most sacred place. See the flux vortex in these false color images?
Yeah, that's what messes up my instruments.
There is something really interesting going on in there biologically.
If I had to guess, the unobtainium, or basically a naturally occurring superconductor, is what sort of spurred on the development of a sort of interconnected, communicative flora and fauna on this planet. I mean, that seems to be where they were going with it, with all the sci-fi elements, but I could be wrong, but that seems to be it. So it makes sense that the mother tree, or the gigantic interconnected, I guess, hub of the planet would be sitting on top of the biggest deposit. Yeah, a little nerve-wracking, just a little. Take a break. I'm just gonna have you a little sit down right here, guys. Okay.
Within Eywa.
It's a fascinating concept. It's almost like they took the transhuman idea of a mind being able to be saved as digital information, and they kind of flipped it on its head and made it a concept among a very primitive people on a planet that just happens to have the right conditions for it. It's very interesting.
I've already chosen. But this woman must also choose me.
She already has.
Oh! That's another thing. So Na'vi kiss with their lips like humans do? I guess that's the thing. I don't know. Aliens are weird.
The last time you took a shower.
I need a shower.
Jesus, Marine.
I say again, I really like their relationship. Now, the big chunky boy right there is a little not realistic looking to me. Little too chunky.
Roger. CS-40's going hot.
Fire.
Firing.
He was wearing what's, I guess, a type of integrated heads-up display, helmet-mounted cueing. They have that in real life, although it's actually they've got fully immersive ones now these days. It's pretty cool.
All call signs, switch missiles.
Give me HEs at the base of the west columns.
HE is high explosives. They did a really good job presenting this as a Holocaust of sorts. I mean, it is very sad.
Solid rocks on target.
Screw this.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
I didn't sign up for this shit.
Good job, Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez basically plays the same character in every movie. Michelle Rodriguez. And we kind of love it. I mean, how do you not get 9/11 vibes from that shot?
It's good work, people. First round's on me tonight. Let's boogie.
And just kind of leaning nonchalantly with his coffee mug is I mean, it's perfect characterization for him. This is just another job to him. All these people, all the things that they care about, it's meaningless. They're just obstacles to him accomplishing what he wanted to accomplish, and they captured that really well. You'd think there'd be some sort of intergalactic laws or something like that about just, killing sentient beings on other planets, but, I don't know. This is the early days of space exploration, maybe. We're always slow to catch up to our innovations with our laws, if you've noticed. She was stirring the stick there. She's like doing a little flight control test to make sure all of her flight surfaces and everything was working well. Oh, his good boy came to get him.
Sometimes your whole life boils down to one insane move. Something we gotta do. You're not gonna like it.
Also, 4 eyes. I think a lot of the fauna had 4 eyes on this planet, but again, the Na'vi only have 2. It's a quibble.
The way I had it figured, Taruk is the baddest cat in the sky. Nothing attacks him. Easy boy. So why would he ever look up? But that was just a theory.
Bold move, Cotton.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
That's quite the entrance, sir. Quite the entrance. Now, they're all connected, so in a way, they're all kind of providing direction to the network to do this, to actually accomplish this. It's again, it's a very interesting idea that their religious understanding of all of this actually has a scientific analog that they're all kind of participating in.
And we will show the Sky people that they cannot take whatever they want. And that this is our land.
As cliche as that was, it was an effective speech. And here comes the shuttle. I gotta say, that shuttle design is pretty cool. The nose, there's something wrong about the nose, the way it's shaped, but you know. And this is the two armies amassing opposite one another scene. Which is pretty classic for the epic battles that you see in some of these movies.
All right, ladies, let's bring the pain.
Again, mech suits are cool, but I'm still very not convinced that they actually make any sort of practical sense in the real world, aside from maybe in construction or you know, dangerous things like that. In combat, they seem more of a liability than anything else. I will say, though, a full frontal charge is not the way to go if you have the tactical advantage of knowing the terrain. It's kind of dumb, actually. Now this ambush from above with the dragons, that's great.
Oops.
I mean, you might say the war paint on her aircraft is kind of silly, kind of over the top, but you know, a clear visual indicator that she's not on the other guy's side is probably important in this kind of battle where you just got dragons and aircraft on either side, right? So. Now, I didn't expect her to die. That was an actual surprising thing that happened in this battle. I did wonder what happened if the body dies. In this case, their connection isn't enough to actually cause the Avatar driver to die. So I did like that little bit where they showed us what happens. That's a bad man right there. Prioritize getting into the mech before even putting out the fire that was on his shoulder. It's wicked. And then, of course, there's this escape. Oh, that's a great villain right there. This is a great villain.
You think you're one of them? Time to wake up.
The time to wake up line has been repeated several times, I think. It's the whole idea of dream walking, right? That's one of the things that the Na'vi called Avatar drivers, dream walkers. What did they say? Unconscious in 40 seconds and dead in 2 minutes or something like that? I can't remember what the opening line was about their ability to breathe. Good thing she knows what those are and how to use them. And we saw that when Grace was being taken to the mother tree, right? She's seen those. And since they introduced this concept earlier with Grace, now we get to see what it looks like, you know, in a non-emergency situation, right? So let's see. And again, in a bit of a mirror, we get to see the seeds of Eywa kind of collecting around him. And... well, that was Avatar. I gotta say, I enjoyed it more this time around than I did the first time around. Mainly because probably because I knew what to expect. I was expecting something much more grandiose the first time around because of all the hype behind it. And the fact that it fell short in certain areas for me was very much a problem. my main beef with Avatar is that it had so much more potential story-wise than what we got. I mean, with the world that they created, with the situation that they put themselves in, I think they sold themselves short on what the storytelling could do. This could have been as socially impactful as movies like The Matrix are, in that they ask interesting questions of us that cause us to look at the world a little differently. In this case, you know, they had questions of collective intelligence, you know, with their natural occurring internet. Essentially, we could have explored the nature of the internet as we use it versus this natural, essentially, internet that combines personalities and memories and all those other things to create a sort of collective intelligence that lives on this planet for centuries, right? There were a lot more themes in that could have been explored, as well as the story, the basics of the story. You know, obviously this was The Last Samurai, it was Pocahontas, it was all of these things where the people that you're supposed to identify with naturally, you know, the humans, the Western civilization, however you want to put it, come in and they want to exploit the indigenous areas for resources. And the problem with those stories is as much as important as they can be in just sort of describing those sort of situations and basically exploring them from our history, but in a different perspective. The problem is the bad guys are pretty clear. In modern Western society, that's not a message that we need, that, hey, you shouldn't go around exploiting indigenous populations for their resources and killing them and moving them around and stuff. We've already got that lesson. It would have been a much more interesting situation if they had set it up so that the humans were in dire straits, that there was a problem that these resources could solve that was a matter of survival. So then you have survival of the human race versus the survival of the Na'vi, and where is Jake Sully going to land when that's the question? That's a much more interesting question to ask. But I guess maybe they wanted to make it a little more bankable by, you know, keeping out of all that, you know, the messiness of that, but we'll see. Anyway, I enjoyed it okay, but you know, I'm not going to be first in line to see the Avatar: The Way of Water, which should be coming out very soon this week, I believe, if my timing for posting this is correct. So anyway, that's all for today. If there's something that you want me to watch and react to, please leave a comment down below. If there's discussions you want to have about this, do you like Avatar? Do you think it stood the test of time? Do you think there's more to it? Are you looking forward to seeing The Way of Water? Let me know in the comments below. Get a little conversation going. All right. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, and share for more videos just like this one. All right. St. Don the Philosopher here. Goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you in another video.